Are you ready? Ready to take a ride? Grab your coffee and strap yourself in, because the show is about to begin. From the front lines of America, Babylon, and transmitting worldwide on the internet and satellite, you are listening to Omega Man Radio Network with Shannon Davis.
And I'm excited to be here with my longtime friend, Harry Cooper, Shark Hunters, sharkhunters.com. And again, this is September 5th, 2025, live show. Good morning, Harry. How are you doing, brother?
Good morning yourself. It's 5 September, 3 days past my birthday.
Man, happy birthday.
Thank you. 2nd of September.
I've got one gentleman on this program. His name is Brother Gary Stafford. And he may have a Guinness Book World Records. He's been podcasting with me for 10 years. He just turned 91.
Oh, God bless him.
He's still going strong. So what?
Yeah, I hope to be going strong at 91 also, because that's only a few years away from me, because I just turned 86.
What? You're still young, Spry Chicken. 86.
Yeah, God built me out of good parts, and I've never done drugs of any kind. And I tried cigarettes when I was a kid in high school because I was one of these tough punks with the cigarette rolled up in my T-shirt. I got halfway through my first cigarette, and I thought, you got to be dumber than a box of rocks to do this, and I never did cigarettes again.
Boy, that's the truth. Now they're using vapes and all this stuff, and I heard it turns your lungs into like cotton or something.
Your lungs aren't supposed to get anything in there but air, plain old air. And I was born one day after the Germans invaded Poland, and everybody smoked at that time. My dad, 4 packs a day, unfiltered. He died at age 75. My mom, 3 packs a day, unfiltered. Wow. She died on her 80th birthday. I'm 86, and thank God I'm in great shape. I don't have anything wrong with me. And my blood sugar creeps up, but I'm sure it's the fault of those doggone cupcakes and donuts that keep sneaking into my hand.
Oh, man.
It's not my fault.
You just made me think about some of those ding dongs and Twinkies.
Oh, God,
they still make those?
Yeah. I used to eat those. I'd go through a pack a day.
Well,
and when I was a young executive, in my late 20s, early 30s, you never saw me without a 12-ounce bottle of Pepsi. No matter where I was in the office or if I had to go out into the factory for something, I always had, and I'd go through a case in about a day and a half.
Wow. Now that's a lot.
Yeah. I drank Pepsi like it was going out of style. Now, my wife likes Coke, so we have Cokes in the house. So if I have one Coke in a week, that's about it. And usually that's when I'm watching NASCAR and eating chips and dip. And, I used to drive the super speedways way back. Texas World Speedway, Michigan, Pocono. I used to race there.
Yes.
And we had Dodges and Chevys and Fords, and now they got Toyotas. And what those people did to our prisoners of war, I will never own a Jap car. And I watch NASCAR, Now, I don't want to ever see anybody get hurt, but I watch it to see the Jap cars blow up or bend the tin, crash, whatever. That is, that's not American. What they did to our prisoners.
They're pretty cruel. There's no question about that.
Yeah. One of our members, who's now passed, he was a navigator bombardier on a B-29 that got shot down over Tokyo. He got grabbed as a POW. He was about 6'4", I guess, built like a linebacker. And when he was finally released, he was about 6'4", something like that, 80 pounds.
Wow.
80 pounds. They couldn't have any water until after the guards or somebody had washed the dishes in the water, and then they could have water to drink, the dishwater.
That's barbaric,
we could go on. Yeah, it is.
Oh, my goodness.
We could go on for a long time on that, but that's the only time I'll have a Coke, usually.
Well, that's a great time to drink a Coke, when you have some chips and dip and watching NASCARs. I used to live up in Gainesville, Georgia, and speaking of NASCARs, I rented this office in a little strip mall. It had a pawn shop, it had a NASCAR store and a Mexican restaurant. And these were some local guys who just sell NASCAR toys. Miniature
huge
cars.
Industry.
Yeah, memorabilia, things like that.
Right, huge industry.
But they used to ship packages out every day. And, Georgia, and I think they would sell on eBay. And so there's a lot of people that buy these toy cars.
Right.
Speaking of that, hold on a second. Let me get something.
Drop us a note if you find work. That's what my grandmother always used to say.
Now, this is kind of off subject, but we're talking about cars right now. So I have two boys, and I buy them cars. These are like two little Formula racers.
Right.
And I've kind of gotten addicted to the collecting. It's Matchbox. Now here's
Matchbox has been around for a long time.
A brand new little Porsche. Now I like Formula One racers, and I like Porsches. Well, no, that's not a Porsche. It's a Ferrari. Excuse me. I like Ferraris.
That's what I thought. The nose looked an awful lot like a Ferrari.
They're making these things. Ferrari didn't let anybody make Matchbox cars for a long time. Now they've made some deal, and
it might also have to do with when Signora Ferrari died.
So they got a deal.
He was hardcore against that.
Where Matchbox is making them now, so I don't know. So what happened is I started to buy these little cars for my kids, and then they would lose them, and I'm like, y'all keep losing these cars, I'm not gonna buy anymore. And I thought this phase, of these cars was gonna last, but I think they liked it for about 6 months. Now they went on to other things, and I've got an 8-year-old. He plays soccer, and then the 6-year-old, he's starting to do a little bit of soccer. And he plays with the cars a little bit, but I had so much fun buying them that I still collect some of them.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy.
Everybody's got to have a hobby.
I'm thinking, what am I going to do with it? And I thought maybe I'll just save them for their kids. So it'll be like a granddad collection that I'll pass on.
Yeah, why not?
It's fun to collect something. I used to collect magazines, martial arts magazines. Collected coins when I was a child.
Yeah.
Remember stamps?
My collecting was records.
Records?
When I was a teenager, I had a job at a store. The chain has gone out of business, called Bond Store for Men.
Yes.
And I was folding suits in the will call department, and I got paid, are you ready for this, 75 cents an hour.
Whoa.
That was in 1956. But there was a record shop right down the way in the mall. And so, of course, this was after school I was working. But during my break time and during dinner, I'd run down to the record store. I'd sweep up, empty the trash cans.
Yes.
And the owner, Don Copy was his name. I still remember it. He'd pay me in records.
Really?
And so when I got my paycheck on Friday, I'd run down to the record store and buy more records because I got a discount. I have about 700 long plays, or as they're called now, vinyls.
Yes.
And I think 15, 16 cases of 45 RPM records.
Amazing.
Yeah. And also, way before I've been married 40 years, but way before that, when I'd meet a girl, we'd get a relationship going, I would kind of absorb her record collection into mine. And when we broke up, too bad, I'm keeping the records.
Absolutely.
And usually they never even thought of the records. They were just happy to be out of, I don't know, I'm not going in there. But we've got really rare stuff like the submarine races by Bobby Angel and the Hillsiders. He was a clerk in the record store where I worked, and he cut a couple records. And I've got Elvis Presley with Scotty and Bill. Elvis Presley on the Japan Limited Corporation label.
Wow, that's rare.
Bill Haley and the Saddlemen, because he was country and western before he did Rock Around the Clock and went into rock and roll.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Well, I do because I'm an old guy.
But I remember Bill Haley, Rock Around the Clock.
With the little, yes, that started rock and roll. He had the little spit curl.
Yeah.
But he was Bill Haley and the Saddlemen before that, and I've got one of his albums.
But that one you mentioned with Elvis, I've never heard about that one before. Was that like one he had cut Sun Records or something on the side?
That was when it was with Sun Records, yeah.
Okay.
And I got a ton of Jerry Lee Lewis stuff from the early days, and then later on, you remember he had that problem marrying his 13-year-old cousin, and he fell from grace, and he came to the local lounge down the road from where I lived outside Chicago, and once a month they had big names in there. So this one time they had Jerry Lee Lewis, and during a break he and I sat on the right front fender of his stretch Lincoln out in the parking lot and just talked about life in general. Whoa. He was not a dumb hillbilly. He was a pretty smart guy.
I heard a story that he had like 7 different Cadillacs, different colors, one for every day of the week.
Could have been. He started buying Oldsmobile 98 convertibles.
Wow.
That was when he was getting $10,000 a night.
That's big money, even today.
Even today it's money, but back then this was like every bit of 60 years ago. It was in the 1960s. As a matter of fact, when I was in tech school at Lowry Air Force Base, 1958, Denver, Colorado, I went to see one of his performances.
Wow.
The Champs and who the heck else? They did Tequila. They were his warm-up. And then whoever it was that did 26 Miles Across the Sea, Santa Catalina's Waiting for Me.
Man.
Those were his warm-up bands.
Whoa. What was it like seeing him in concert? He was good, wasn't he?
Oh, tremendous. My own personal opinion, I believe he was one of the 2 absolute superstar greatest of all. The other one, Little Richard.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Incredible talents. Elvis was numbered on the second shelf of my own personal, but I've got tons of Elvis record. I've got tons of Jerry Lee Lewis. I got so much from rock and roll back in the old days.
Amazing that you got to meet the guy and see him live.
Yeah. And talk about nothing in particular. Just sit on the right front fender. I'll remember it pulled up right in front of the Manor Lounge on the northeast corner of Lake Street and Manheim Road in Stone Park, Illinois.
Wow.
That's where I lived when I had to shoot a burglar.
He came from a talented family. His cousins, Mickey Gilley and then Jimmy Swaggart, and they all played the piano.
Right, and listening to Mickey Gilley, you'd have a hard time telling the difference between Mickey Gilley and Jerry Lee Lewis.
That's real genetic talent right there. All 3 of those guys could sing and play the piano. But, Jerry Lee Lewis, the killer, he was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Wow, who else did you get to see live back in the day?
Not very many people, because I didn't have any money. I came from a working class family. My dad was a post office clerk. My mom was a homemaker, so we didn't have. And I got promoted after 1 month. I went to $1 an hour. a
Wow,
dollar
that's
an
a good
hour.
raise.
Oh boy, oh boy. I was in tall cotton back then. Hey, I made $1 an hour. And then
Shoot.
that's the first job I ever got fired from. Uh, I was working, selling shoes. I moved into the shoe department, and my boss was a guy named Ray Buck, who was a sergeant in the infantry during the war. And this one day, I said, I'm going to need Friday off, 2 or 3 weeks up the road there. I'm given plenty of notice. He said, yeah, why do you want the day off? I said, well, I got a date with my girlfriend. He says, no, you can't have the day off. If it was important, you could have the
Man.
day off. I says, well, I'm telling you ahead of time. Nope, can't have the day off to go on a date with your girlfriend. I said, well, I'm
What
going
the
to
heck?
go. And he says, then I'm going to fire you. So I came in that Friday because I was going to leave at 7 instead of 9. And I said, I'm leaving at 7 today. He says, then I'll fire you. So come 7 o'clock. I said,
What
I'm
the heck?
leaving. He said, you're fired.
Oh my goodness.
Okay. I think I had 23 jobs before I started Shark Hunters 42 years ago. I've had 23 jobs in my lifetime, and I got fired from, I think, 20 of them.
I think I had like
That,
20 jobs in high school.
yeah,
Uh, if we wanted something, we had to basically work for it and save our own money. And
yeah.
so my first job was age 13.
Oh,
Too young to work, but I had got this guy to agree to let me work, and they let me clean offices. So
okay.
for 3 hours every night, I would clean these business offices, clean the bathrooms and the toilets and mop,
Right.
and they paid me
You
like,
got to start at the bottom.
yeah, man, 3.35 an hour, and that would allow
Wow.
me to buy video games.
Okay. There was no video games when I was a kid. There
This was
was no
like
computers.
19. My first job, 1982.
Right.
1982. 13 years old or something like that. And yeah, I always worked through high school, but made good money. But it hurt my grades because you work all those night shifts,
Yeah.
like 5 to
Yeah.
11, and then work all weekend. Your grades suffer, but I had money at least.
Yeah. You only have so many hours to do whatever you're going to do, and you only have so much in your battery pack inside
Right.
to allow you to do whatever you're doing. And so when you overstress your batteries in this area, you lose in another area. I was fortunate in school, thank God. Nothing I did. Uh, I was born with a genius IQ, thank God.
Wow.
I never took a book home. I never took a book home in
Shoot.
high school. I never turned in homework. I'd ace all the tests and flunk all the homework and slid through with a C average.
Hey, that's not bad.
Yeah.
Did you have
Well,
like one of
like I
those
say,
photographic memories?
well, for some things now with shark hunters, I can tell you who was skipper of what boat at what time, etc., where they attacked when they were. But
Amazing.
other stuff, no. But I do it 12 hours a day. I've been in my office since 4 this morning, and that's normal. 4:30
Yes.
is usually when I'm here, and I go till 8 o'clock at night. And this is what I do.
You work hard,
My
there's no question about it. Because I have,
Yeah, and I don't get paid. Nobody at Shark Hunters gets paid. We're all volunteers.
I've called into your office before early in the morning, and you're there like clockwork. Folks, welcome
Yeah,
aboard. We're here with Harry Cooper, Shark Hunters. And speaking of books, Harry, you've got a couple you want to talk about today.
that's correct. We sure
We're just
do.
warming up. But it's good to hear
Yeah,
some of your history.
we've
And
got we've got 70 books already published,
wow,
and here I'm going to do a little self promotion.
let me get
We'll
you on
give you
full
a free
screen here.
magazine. We
There you
also
go.
publish a magazine, and just send us an email, sharkhunters@sharkhunters.com. Say you heard us on the show today. We'll send you a free magazine. No strings attached. Uh, no obligation.
Nice.
Just send us an email. So
Folks,
let's go
do
ahead.
that, this program, because Harry puts out a great magazine. I've been getting it for a decade. And Harry,
Right.
you've got some new stuff you've written. What do you want to talk about first tonight?
Oh boy. Hardly a week goes by, but we don't have another book released. And people say, how can you write a book so quickly? Because I can publish a book within 1 or 2 weeks.
Man,
But we've
that's
been
fast.
doing this but we've been doing it over 40 years. And we have, as you see in the magazine, we've got articles, 3, 4, 5 articles in each magazine, and almost all of them are first-person memories of the warriors from World War II, most of them German,
Yes.
but also American, Russian, British, etc. And so they're all on the computer. So when I'm writing
Yes.
on a particular topic, we just look through the file and copy and paste, copy and paste, copy and paste, and slug in photos, and bingo, you got a book. Because I've been doing it for 40 years. It
That's
comes
amazing.
together.
And what you've got is original source material. You're not taking from somebody else. You're actually going and finding the original stuff, getting it all.
Absolutely. And the U-boat guys, Otto Kretschmer, the top submarine commander of the whole war, when the Knights crossed with oak leaf and swords, I studied him in high school, and later I met him. We became good friends. He and his wife said I was a member of their family. I had a sleeping room in the Kretschmer house, and he's been here twice to the U.S. I've been to his home dozens of times. Erich Topp, the number 3 skipper. I've been to his home God knows how many times. He was here a couple of times to visit. Reinhard Hardagen, the same thing. And once these guys realized I was not a Nazi hunter, but a historian, they networked me with everybody. Thank
Amazing.
God. And they were so nice. And it's been said that Germans, now we're talking about the old Germans, I don't know about the new ones, but the old school Germans, they're either at your throat as an enemy or at your side as a friend. And these people were the best doggone friends. And with those older guys, a handshake was a contract.
Yes.
And they wouldn't lie about anything. So I love dealing with people like that because that's the way I am.
Absolutely. That's the way it's supposed to be. Our word is our bond. And
it has to be.
But sadly, for a lot of people, they don't understand that too well. Now,
and the newer generation, yeah.
You're holding a book there. Talk about this one first. What is this that you got?
Space, the Final Frontier, Secrets NASA Doesn't Want You to Know. Let me tell you, this is a huge book. It's 8.5 by 11, and we'll talk about it in a minute, but it's about 300 pages long, jammed with photos and with stuff you're not supposed to know about, which we'll talk about now. Yeah.
Look at that. That's nice. That's like an 8.5 by 11 size?
That is correct. 8.5 by 11. And very thick, about 300 pages.
Yes.
So there was this fella named Clark McClellan. Take a peek there. There's Clark, 35 years, senior engineer at NASA. He knew all the astronauts. He saw everything that was going on. Unfortunately for Clark, he talked about it too much. And that's where we got all our information. He got fired from NASA after 35 years with no severance, no retirement.
Wow.
Zip, squat, nothing. And he lived about 40 miles from me. And all of a sudden, his Social Security stopped as well. Yeah. And I had never been to visit him. He and I always got together at this great German restaurant in a little town called Mount Dora, which was near where he lived. And so he went dark, and I couldn't get a hold of him. Emails, phone calls, nothing. So I drove over to the address I had, and it was an old beat-up, single-wide trailer house in a 1950s style trailer park. And I went to the management and asked where was Clark. Turned out his caregiver had come calling on him a week before because she hadn't heard from him either. And he was laying on the floor unconscious for about 3 days.
Oh, no.
He he had gangrene in his right leg.
Oh.
And so they rushed him to the hospital, had to take off his right leg. And then because he had no money, they put him in an assisted living facility in Pennsylvania. And so I flew up and spent a couple of days talking to him again because he was a friend. And it was a very nice assisted living place. He had the window. There were two guys in the room. And he described it as a warehouse for people waiting to die. And he was praying for death because he couldn't go more than about 5, 6, 7 minutes without screaming out in pain because he was in very bad shape.
Good grief.
So he knew everybody, and like I say, he talked, and that's what cost him. He was also very interested in UFOs. I think they call that ufology or something like that. So here's another guy that was very interested in UFOs, the great one, Jackie Gleason.
Yeah.
One of the great entertainers of our time.
Oh, yes.
He was also very interested in UFOs. And Jackie Gleason was living in Fort Lauderdale by that time. And I remember we used to watch his show every night coming out of Hollywood. And he decided he didn't want to be in Hollywood. So he put the whole gang on a rented train, and they came all across, and we watched their program on the train, and they came to Fort Lauderdale.
Wow.
And, yeah, he bought a golf course there, I think, and Clark tracked him down because Clark wanted to talk to him about UFOs.
Yes.
So they got together. They met, and it turned out Jackie Gleason was also very close friends with Richard Nixon, president at the time.
Oh, amazing.
So Clark got to meet Nixon also. And this is, where people aren't going to believe quite so readily, but this was fact. Clark and Jackie Gleason and Richard Nixon went down to Homestead Air Force Base when there was a Homestead Air Force before Hurricane Andrew.
Yes.
And they saw remains of the guys in the saucers.
Wow.
They had them at Homestead, yeah. So he tells about that all through the book. He also talks about what went on at Cape Canaveral. Here's a very, very sad photo. That's Challenger.
Yes.
People in it, 7 people I think in it, they were still alive all the way to the ground.
That's right,
water,
in that cockpit. Oh, my goodness.
That's right. And they hit, and they all died. He was very close with Judy Resnick. But was Challenger sabotaged? He talks about it.
I think so.
He talks about it, and he'll tell you.
Yes.
And there were various others, and he knew all the astronauts, and he said they were always in trouble because, remember, these are fighter jocks.
Right.
Alpha male. And down there at Fort Lauderdale, at Cape Canaveral, and this Interstate 95 goes north and south right past there. And these guys were always getting pulled over by Florida Highway Patrol in their Corvettes doing 120, 130 miles an hour down the interstate. And NASA was always bailing these guys out. But he's, let's see what else we got here. Here's another one. Gordon Cooper. He was very close with Gordon Cooper. This is Gordon Cooper's space capsule.
Wow.
Artist concept, of course.
Okay.
What are these guys around him? NASA didn't send them up.
Look like saucers to me.
Yeah, Gordon Cooper reported on them. You could see him out of his capsule. And they saw him on the ground units with NASA as well. There was another one. I didn't bother to pull a picture of it. This was on the NASA monitors. Every NASA facility was watching this. I forget which launcher it was, and they were in space. And the cargo bay opens up, and 2 of our astronauts are in there. They were about 5'9", 5'10" tall.
Yes.
They're working. All of a sudden, there's a 9-foot guy in there working with them.
Whoa.
Where did he come from? There's an artist concept of that, and he tells all about. And he said everybody in NASA saw it for about 3 seconds, and all of a sudden, bap, the monitors all went blank.
Now, he worked with NASA back during the time of the space shuttle.
And, he was involved in 600 and something launches.
In the early 80s? And then maybe before then, huh?
Yeah, there's a picture of him with John F. Kennedy in there. He met Kennedy twice.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and Kennedy was killed, 63, wasn't it? 1963?
Right. That's right.
Yeah,
so, okay, he'd been there a while.
He'd been there. Yeah, and he met Dr. Kurt Debus and Werner von Braun.
Really? He met Werner von Braun?
And he worked with those. Yeah, he worked with those guys. Von Braun was a friend of his, and they talked about UFOs. Von Braun said that's absolutely, they are real.
Now, I've got a confession to make. And I think I've mentioned it before, but I've been working on my family tree research for over 30 years. And I never forget it. When years ago, it was back in the early 90s, I had a friend at work who that was his hobby, working on the family tree. And he had a little book like that thick of research he had done, and I said, man, you've gotten far. I'm starting at ground zero, All I had was the initials of my great-grandfather, my dad's side. That was the side I was interested in. That we didn't have much information on my dad's side. And I said, you've gotten that far, man. That's amazing. Well, he inspired me to start an account with, it's called FamilySearch.org. It's free.
Oh, okay.
It's owned by the Mormons.
Oh.
And the Mormons
got some really complete analogies.
In their religion, you've got to have your family tree track back at least 4 generations. So to help you do that, they have the largest genealogy research database in the world. And if there's anything out there, they grab it up and they put all their masters down in these salt mines. And then back then they would digitize and put stuff on microfilm. Well, when the computer came along, then you could get online and start searching. And so I used to get online in the 90s when the web came up and do a little research. And it took me years to get very far at all. And every so often I get this kind of itch to go in there and research, and I'll find another missing link. Okay, so I said all that to say this. One day I got an email a couple years back from FamilySearch.org. And they said, would you like to know some famous people that you're related to? And one of them was Elvis Presley. Wow. I'm like, come on, this has got to be a scam. I'm not joking you. What they'll do is they'll give you a list of people that you're related to. It could be a president or a musician or an actor, whatever. Some historical figure. And then they'll show you their tree and your tree and where they intersect.
Okay. That makes sense.
Come to find out, Elvis Presley is like my 9th cousin. Now, it's not real close, but he's up there.
It's closer than I am with anybody in the entertainment business.
It was crazy. I had all these people I'm looking. I said, there's no way. I think I'm kin like 27 of the 45 presidents. I'm like, how is that even possible? So where I'm going with this story is there was Werner von Braun. He is my cousin.
I'll be darned.
On my dad's side, my grandmother, Davis, her maiden name was Carr. And I think it's in that lineage up there. We've got a common ancestor, and so he's a cousin. And come to find out, you know where Werner von Braun is buried?
In Virginia, I believe.
Yeah, you got a good memory. He's buried up in northern Virginia, up in Alexandria, off of King Street. And lo and behold, I lived on King Street, and he was buried like 2 or 3 blocks down from me the whole time.
Wow.
Which is pretty amazing. So,
well, he came over.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Okay, he came over with during Paperclip,
right?
Operation Paperclip. You know, people think, okay, we've got the Space Center, Kennedy Space Center, and a handful of German scientists are there. No, they took the whole rocket program, the German rocket program from Peenemünde
Okay.
Hundreds of people picked it up and stuck it down at Cape Canaveral and said, "Okay, you're NASA."
Wow.
They were all the scientists, technicians in the beginning. They were all Germans, and I think it was Werner von Braun coined the term. They were all POPs, POPs,
I never heard that term.
prisoners of peace,
Okay.
rather than POWs, prisoners of war. They were prisoners of peace. They all got paid a good buck. Somewhere in this huge pile of stuff I got to go through in the next, we had to buy the house next door just to store things.
Wow.
I've got a stack of paper, lined paper, handwritten with the names of all the paper clippers that we came over, thousands of them, what their address was, what
Yes.
company they worked for in the U.S., how much they got paid, and that's somewhere in the other building. I got to find it one of these days.
A lot of these guys and gals, they went over to Texas, did they?
Yeah,
I think,
some did.
Some went to Texas, and then where was the bomb project based out of?
Well, part of it was
Alamogordo,
New
Mexico, right?
Mexico. Yeah, Las Cruces.
That's right. That's right. So I
And
think a bunch of them were down there too, as well, right?
one of the guys. Now, remember, my career field in the Air Force was nuclear and thermonuclear weapons, and I went 6 months intensive training. The
Okay.
first week we saw, um, goody, a new menu from the local coffee shop. Um, the first week we were watching films. There was no video back in them days. Watching films of the United States atomic energy program, the atomic bomb program, and we were not doing so well. Japan test fired their first bomb 1 week before we test fired our first weapon. Japan didn't have any more fissionable material. We were almost out of it. And a German U-boat surrendered at Portsmouth about a month or so after the end of the war. They were at sea and got the surrender order. So they came in, and among many other things, they had Me-262 jet fighters in crates, along with the paperwork for the Japanese to start building these fighters, and Me-163 rocket plane. They also had, they also had 560 kilos of uranium on board. 560 kilos is about 1,100 pounds. And they had a lot more because only 30% of the cargo had been itemized. The other 70%, we don't know what it was or where it was. It is assumed that this 560 kilos of uranium went into the Hiroshima bomb. We'll never know. You can't even get it with the FOIA request because there are no documents to declassify. Everything was word of mouth. So we don't know, but we think. However, also on that submarine was a guy named Dr. Heinz Schlicke, who was the world leader in magnetic triggering devices, infrared triggering devices. And that's where our weapons were having trouble. They couldn't get the things to trigger properly. To get an atomic reaction, an atomic blast, you start with a little ball of uranium, enriched uranium about the size of a big orange, and surround it with 64 shaped charges of Comp B and baritol, which you don't need to know about. And these 64 charges had to detonate at the exact same zillionth of a second to crush in and give you critical mass. And we were having trouble with that. Along comes Dr. Schlicke, and doggone it, our weapons were working real well again. So,
right.
Sorry. And he was a member of Shark Hunters until he died, but he moved to Milwaukee.
Amazing.
Yeah, he was in a suburb of Milwaukee. As a matter of fact, it was Waukesha, which is where my grandfather lived.
you have a lot of actually famous people who are or have been, while they were alive, members of shark hunters.
Yeah, yep. Ronald Reagan.
Wow.
He gave me the Presidential Medal of Merit, which is sitting right there on my desk.
Amazing.
And George Herbert Walker Bush was a member.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah, the commander-in-chief of the Soviet Navy, Vladimir Chernyavin, he was a member. 5 stars. Met him.
Wow.
I knew him. We were in contact. There's so many people. And the most highly decorated American submariner ever in history was a guest here in my house. And Joe Enright, the guy who sank the biggest ship ever sunk by a submarine, he sank the 71,000-ton Japanese battleship turned aircraft carrier. And he was here.
Oh yeah.
And one of the leaders of the GRU in the Soviet Union, one of the top spies from the GRU, Anatoly, who I just got an email from him about 2 hours ago, they were both here together. Joe Enright wrote a book called Shinano about his sinking that ship. Anatoly translated the book into Russian, and it was required reading in the Russian Naval Academy. He sold 100,000 copies of it.
I was looking up the title of a movie, that I saw a few weeks ago. Do you remember a 1965 movie called In Harm's Way with John Wayne and Kirk Douglas?
Oh, hell yes.
Well, I only saw it recently. That was a pretty good movie, actually, by Otto Preminger. And
he was a big name.
If I'm not mistaken, they talk about, if it was this movie, it was another one similar to it. I think it was this one. They were talking about the sinking of that submarine. The sinking of that battleship you're talking about.
Yeah, it was a battleship
turned
into an aircraft carrier.
Aircraft carrier.
Right, Shinano.
Shinano.
Yamato.
Okay.
I forget the second one. Musashi.
Yamamoto? Or Yamato?
Yamamoto was the commander-in-chief that got shot down over, I think it was Bougainville. One of our members was a fighter pilot in that squadron, but he's not the guy who shot him down. There was another one of our members, a guy named Rex Barber, who actually did shoot down Yamamoto.
That's amazing. Bougainville, come to think of that. I think
it was Bougainville.
My grandfather's oldest brother was killed during the war.
Yeah. There's no such thing as a good war. People die on both sides, whether you win, lose, or otherwise. And as I point out, Joseph Stalin said it best. When one man is killed, it's a tragedy. When a million are killed, it's a statistic. And so I point out to our members and people who read my magazine that when a U-boat is sunk, anytime a submarine is sunk, you can generally expect the whole crew to go down with it because they operate alone. They have no friends. And if they're hit while they're submerged, they ain't no way to come up.
Right.
So I point out, okay, number so-and-so was sunk. 65 men rode it down. Okay. But there's 65 mothers and fathers who aren't going to have their son home. There's 65 wives, girlfriends that are brokenhearted. I don't know if you can see behind me that picture hanging on the wall way back there that my finger's pointing at.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. That's my son who didn't quite make it to 21 years old. And there's no pain that can equal the pain of losing your child.
No, sir.
And so people go off to war. You see the parades. They're in fancy uniforms. They're marching. The bands are playing. And then you get into it.
Yes.
And you're living in the mud. People are shooting at you. You're shooting at them. You're killing them. They're killing your people.
Horrific.
Yeah, when I was a young man, okay. 4 years in the Air Force with a secret clearance loading hydrogen bombs. Later on, 12 years with the Coast Guard Auxiliary,
yes,
helping boaters in trouble. Then from 91 to 96, at the request of the CIA, in and out of the Soviet Union and the Russian Republic for 6 years, in and out. They also sent me into the PRC, the People's Republic of China.
Wow, Harry, that's amazing. I didn't know that part. Now,
yeah.
do they they know you're going into the country, so they'll contact you and ask you maybe to bring back some intelligence.
No, they told me what they needed before they sent me.
Photographs potentially
Yeah,
take and things
photographs.
like that. Yeah.
In Russia, they wanted photographs of admirals. They gave me a big a big long list.
Amazing.
When I went into China, they wanted photos of the infrastructure, how people were living.
Yes.
And when I was there was virtually no cars at all, unless you were some big muckety muck in the government.
Yes.
And zillions of bicycles, 8-lane highways through the city, divide, 4 lanes each way.
Yeah.
And bicycles. And there must be something inbred to the Chinese over there. Our bus driver, we had a big luxury bus. He'd get in, started, and immediately had his hand on the horn. He hadn't even put it in gear yet. And we got so tired of it, one of our guys went out. The rest of us were eating breakfast. He went out with his wire cutters and stopped the horn beeping.
Now, Harry, if
neat,
the CIA...
clean place. I'm sorry, neat, clean place. Friendly, nice people, but they'll look you right in the eye and smile and lie to you and know that you know they're lying, and they'll keep right on going with a smile on their face.
I tell you what, that's a dangerous country over there, China.
It's very dangerous.
With the CCP in control of the whole thing. Now, if the CIA
the Navy
wants
is
to...
under the Army. The Navy is part of the Army. Yeah, figure that one out. And that's all communist run.
So let me back you up a minute. The CIA was looking for photographs of some admirals. Did they approach you to take the trip, or did they pick up on the fact you were going, and then they asked you if you would do some intelligence for them?
No, this was I've just recently found out the final key. I was sitting here, 1991. All of a sudden, my fax machine came on because there was no email in those days.
Okay.
And I'm invited to Moscow by the Soviet Navy. I said, what the hell? So, and then about a week later, I get a phone call from some guy. Hi, Mr. Cooper. My name's Tony Santiago. I'm the station chief here in Orlando for the Central Intelligence Agency. I'd like to have lunch with you.
Wow.
Okay. He comes over. We're having lunch, and he says, I understand you're going to Moscow. I says, how did you know that? Doesn't matter.
That's my point.
He handed me a list of names. I said, what's this? He says, these are admirals. We don't have their photo. We need their photo. I says, I don't even know what the hell I'm going over there for. I don't know why I've been invited. Yeah. So he says, you're going to see these guys. Okay. So I got off the plane. And whenever you're going into another country, you hear, welcome to Bong Bong Land. This is an airport, right. And welcome. We want you to, oh, no, not going there. Oh, no. We are approaching Sheremetyevo Airport. Photography is forbidden. If you're caught with a camera, you will be arrested.
Wow.
What a fun place. So I got off the plane, and here's Anatoly standing all of about 5'6", wearing a full-length leather trench coat, and he had a sign that said Cooper. I never even made a sign toward him or anything. Oh, Mr. Cooper. I said, how did you know? And he kept popping me on my shoulder. I recognize you from your photograph. I said, oh, okay. Give me your passports. I give him my passport. He gives it to somebody who takes off at a dead run. I said, where the hell's this guy going with my passport? Do not worry, sir. You're in the Soviet Union. I said, I'm an American citizen in the Soviet Union, and that guy just took off with my passport.
Amazing.
Do not worry, sir. We are going to the WWII Lounge. The what? To the WWII Lounge. You are a VIP. Okay. So we went there.
Now, were you running Shark Hunters at the time?
Yes. That was in 1991. I started Shark Hunters in 83.
Well, so you think
full-time.
They had probably picked up on the fact you were one of the top researchers of subhistory, and that's why they wanted you?
Yeah, that was part of it. But I found out just recently, about 8 months ago, from another one of our members who was an active agent at the time, not working for us, working for somebody else.
Yes.
Ronald Reagan was a member of Shark Hunters, and we corresponded a little bit. He sent me some nice photos of himself. He and Gorbachev got to be fairly friendly with one another, and this is when Glasnost was coming along. And so we found out,
Right.
without speculation, we found out for sure Reagan suggested to Gorbachev to invite me over. And
Oh, wow.
so we went right straight to the headquarters of the Navy. And Admiral Chernyavin had been called out, so the vice commander of the Soviet Navy, Vice Admiral Komarov, was there. Mr. Cooper, welcome. And there's this gigantic 8-foot globe in there with all sorts of little pins in places in the United States. And Mr. Cooper, we would like you to meet, and they bring in all the people who are on my list to take pictures of.
That's amazing.
So they're taking pictures of me with each one of these guys, with the Soviet photographer. Mr. Cooper, you have a camera. Would you like us to take photo with your camera too? Yes, of course. I never got to see the pictures. As soon as I got home, the guy from the CIA come over. Let me have your camera. I said, I haven't even developed the film yet. This was film back in them days. He said, that's okay. We'll develop the film. I never saw any of the pictures.
Wow. So this was all the doing of President Ronald Reagan.
Reagan and Gorbachev. And this is what I got when I got back, Presidential Medal of Merit.
Amazing. Well, now he was already a member of your magazine at this time, right?
That's correct. From 1991 until he passed away.
Well,
great man.
Talk about a great man, and he appreciated the work you do. No question to me about that.
Yeah.
And
I have a photo that he sent me, and he wrote on there, to Shark Hunters, a great organization that preserves American history.
Wow, that's amazing, folks. Harry has got plenty of these type of stories. He's been around in this industry for over 40 years. Harry, you got in
plus
40 plus. I mean, because when you saw that hacienda, if you will, up on that cliff in the Bahamas, that's really where the story started. When was that you were out there on your boat? 80s?
No, a little before that. I had finished. I was running in the lead pack at the Texas 500, 1976. I was with A.J. Foyt, Bobby Unser, Al Unser. I was doing real well. Then I blew the engine in my car. Going home to Chicago, I blew the engine in my truck. I was a good race car driver. I wasn't a very good engine builder. Got back to my company. This was 1976, late. And my boss had quit. And a corporate executive I couldn't get along with was my boss, so I just quit. Bought a 30-foot, built a 30-foot sailing yacht, advertised for female crew companion to man my boat for a trip to the Bahamas, and that's when it was. It was in late 70s. And, yeah, I came into this island, Darby Island, in the southern Exuma chain, and there was ruins of a mansion on a hilltop. Most islands in the Bahamas are long and skinny, and usually to the west, depending on which chain, to one side, you can walk for a mile or more in the ocean and not get your armpits wet. If you go off the other side of the island, 2 steps and you're in Mother Ocean.
Yes.
So I pulled in here and I went up to see the ruined mansion. And I asked the old caretaker what was the story. And he says, you don't know, man. We gave food to German U-boats. And my first thought, of course, was them dirty Nazis, because that's what we were taught. You got to have propaganda.
Right.
He showed me where to chop on through the brush and find the remains of the barracks and the radio shack. And I chopped on through, and they were there. And the radio was still in there. It was in horrible shape. People had apparently bashed it around. So, okay, I tucked it into the back of my head because I had three more important things to think about: Lynette, Debbie, and Karen. So, uh, got down to Georgetown, which is about as far south as the cruising yachties ever get. And I looked in my wallet one day and I had one picture of Abe Lincoln. I had $5 left to my name. So I sailed back to Key Largo, by then the girls had all gone back home. Uh, and here I am. I put my boat in the marina. Here I am, former vice president of a company out on Highway US 1, hitchhiked back to Chicago, mooched a room from my sister, went back to work. This was in the late 70s, early 80s. And I started to research. And I found out this was not true. During a war, you have to have propaganda. You can't tell your soldier, the guy on the other side of the battlefield, loves his country like you love yours, has a wife and child that he wants to get home to, goes to the same church you do, now go kill him. You wouldn't have much of a war. God forbid, you can't have a war if you don't hate the enemy. But after the war is over, in my opinion, you have to make history correct. And that has not been made correct. Germans are still looked on as horrible, horrible Nazis. They were not machine gunning people in the water. It never happened. It was nice propaganda. One of our members, Captain Chalamedos, was a merchant skipper, American. He got sunk in the North Atlantic. And the whole crew was bobbing around in their big lifeboat, and the U-boat came up alongside them. And the U-boat commander asked if anybody needed any medical help, and they did not. So the U-boat skipper gave them a compass and told them what direction to steer to find land. And then he asked, he said, I'd like to give you guys some fresh water, but our desalinator is down, so can I give you a couple cases of beer instead? And after the war was over, and also during our conventions, our patrols, whatever, former enemies would get together and be buddies.
I want you to pause the story right there. Harry, our audio is good, but I'm having trouble with my video. What I want to do is I want us both to come out of the program for a moment, and I want you to click on that StreamYard link and come back in 5 minutes. Does that sound good?
Sounds like a plan. I'll see you in 5.
We'll take a 5-minute break. Okay, folks, we're going to stop the stream, and we'll be back in about 5 minutes. Okay, I'm back with you.
Ground control to Major Tom.
You're coming through good. Your video's good. Audio's great. I was having trouble on my end with my video, but audio's all good.
That's what you were saying, yeah.
Hang on a second. We got to do something here. I need to
get a hammer.
Kick that. I hope I don't kick you out. If I do, come back in. Okay, no, you're okay. Can you still hear me?
I hear you. I don't see anything, but...
Okay. You can't see me?
Nope. I got a white screen that says the easiest way to live stream and record.
Okay, hang on a minute.
Get started. It's free.
Okay, Harry, how about now?
There we are. I just clicked a different button.
Okay, you can hear me now? You see me now?
I can see you too.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're live
I'm not
again.
as dumb as I look.
Okay, you look good. Folks, welcome back for part 2 with Harry Cooper. So, Harry, you've had some amazing, and you do now, amazing Shark Hunter members. Once again, you have a special offer. You do a magazine. Can you show us the free magazine that you'll send people if they want to try a test?
There you go, right there. Just send an email to us, sharkhunters@sharkhunters.com. Say you saw the show, you'd like the current issue of the magazine.
Yes.
We'll send it to you, no charge, electronically, no strings attached, no obligation. We hope you like it enough to where you'll come aboard.
Harry
Shannon's
sends
been he's been a member a decade or more.
Yeah. Man, when we're talking 10 years, it just seems like it's flown by, Harry. Amazing.
Let me give you a little tip, Shannon. The older you get, the faster the days fly by.
I'm already feeling it, Harry. I'm feeling it, my friend. That's the truth. Well, if you want some of the best history you'll find on the subject of submarines, the U-boats, World War II, the Third Reich, what actually happened to Hitler, and many of the top leaders of the Third Reich.
We'll talk about. Yeah,
let's pull it up.
We'll talk about.
Show me the book you got.
We'll just go through the last couple of things on space, the final frontier.
Yes.
This is the Kecksburg egg.
Wow,
very
look at
famous
that.
if you follow it. Yeah, it was grabbed up right away. Clark McClellan, the guy who wrote everything that went into this book, he was one of 2 NASA engineers sent there to Kecksburg, Pennsylvania, to supervise loading of this thing on 2 Army trucks, and it disappeared. Where did it go? We think it's in that same archive where the Ark of the Covenant that Indiana Jones found got stuck.
I've never seen a picture of that until now. That's amazing photograph, the egg.
What was the Kecksburg egg? It's all explained in the book. Look up Die Glocke.
Die Glocke.
That's what it is.
Wow.
Yeah. And
so
here's one of the. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So this book by Clark McClellan, it's available right now. How will they order a copy?
Oh, just funny you should ask. Here's how to order. The best bet is call us, 352-637-2917, or go online, sharkhunters.com, and then click shop in the upper margin, or go online. Everything's online. Everything's online nowadays.
I love that. That's pre-prepared, and that was very clear. I was reading it. 55,000 books.
Oh, yeah.
And not one returned.
Not one returned. And
wow.
We haven't had a complaint lodged with the Better Business Bureau for more than 32 years. We have an A+ rating with the Better Business. Yeah. We stay out of trouble. We advertise, and we've come through. That's it. 42 years we've been here.
Harry, this is amazing research you've done. And in terms of your photograph archive, how many photographs do you think you got?
Over 300,000.
Okay, now here we are. Barack Obama. I didn't like that guy.
Neither did Clark. Clark called him a traitor. No.
Big time.
Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. I'm not getting... Yeah.
I think he was, and I think more than that. I think Time Magazine was right. He was the first gay president. Larry Sinclair said he was his lover in the back of a limousine.
Yeah, and
at the press club.
Was it that Joan Rivers? She was interviewed. Some reporter grabbed her, and she said, "We've already had a gay president, and married to a man." And the reporter said, "What are you talking about?" And she said, "Michelle's a tranny. Everybody knows that." And within 3 months, she was dead.
She sure was, and
so
not once, not twice, but 3 times. There are camera clips of either Michelle or Barack talking about Michael.
Oh yes.
And
Barack would be saying, "Well, there's times when Michelle gets upset, and
Michelle said, as a gay man, I was a transgender man. I was like, what? You just let it out of the bag?
And we got a copy of her voting card from Illinois, and it said male until Obama decided to run for president. Yeah.
Well, we got a problem here, Harry, because France, Macron.
I heard.
There's a lot of evidence building that his wife could actually be his husband.
Boyfriend, yeah.
I mean, there's like a 30-some-odd year gap between them. That's bad enough. Supposedly his school teacher was...
I don't know about a gap of years. My wife and I are 12 years apart. That's,
but she was hitting on...
My wife's a woman.
And I hear what you're saying, but apparently she was hitting on him when he was 15, the school teacher. But I don't think it was a she.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they were having relations when he was 14 or 15 years old. I think 14, actually. But here's the deal. I don't think that is a woman. I think that's a man that had a sex change. And if what is going on here? Candace
the world
Owens
is in upheaval.
has been doing research on this, Candace Owens.
Yeah.
And you know,
she's a sharp cookie. She's a smart lady.
Yeah. The elite have some saying, adultery is great, but incest is best. Something like that.
Yeah.
You know, inbred.
I've heard, yeah.
And so evidence is building
keep the
that
power in the family.
that could be Macron's husband, which is actually a cousin. We shall see. Why not just take a DNA test? DNA will tell you if you're a man or woman, right? Blood test, rather? Take a blood test, rather?
I would imagine, yeah.
Yeah, you can tell if someone's male or female with a blood test.
XY or XX chromosomes,
right?
I guess.
Something like that.
I don't understand it. You know, if people want to be gay, that's their business. I don't care.
But I'm saying to be a transgender.
Yeah.
And you're married to a man who thinks she's a woman. I mean, so my point I'm going at, you know, people can do what they want to do, but for them to be in that position of power,
yeah,
I mean, you know, that's sick. That's a mental illness.
Yeah.
And so to have that in France, have it in America, I still maintain that the former Prime Minister of Canada was a homosexual.
I've heard that also, and also that
Trudeau?
his real father was Fidel.
Yeah, there's talk that his mother was having relations with Fidel. So
she was having relations with everybody. And Trudeau's brother, half-brother, flat out said, yes, Fidel was Trudeau's father. Now, whether that's true or not, I don't care, but who can forget that famous photo of her sitting on the floor at Studio 54 with her legs spread and no panties on?
Wow.
She was an embarrassment to...
that his mother, huh? Trudeau's mother.
Trudeau's mother, yeah.
Yep.
She was an embarrassment to his father, who was the sitting prime minister at the time.
It's all corrupt. I saw this movie recently. It's an old one. Do you remember Billy Jack, Tom Laughlin from the 70s?
Yeah, yeah.
So he did a
always
series.
Had to take off his shoes to get into a fight.
Right. That was Billy Jack, the first one. Then there was a trial of Billy Jack. And then there's Billy Jack Goes to Washington.
Okay.
And this was such a controversial movie that Hollywood blocked it. And it was never released until decades later. And the story goes, Billy Jack is going to Washington, and he gets up there and just uncovers corruption at all levels. And when he made this movie,
in Washington, I'm shocked.
So this movie would have been made back like in 74, okay?
Okay.
That's 50 years ago. And in the movie was Lucille Ball's daughter.
Okay.
Desi Arnaz.
Lucy Arnaz.
Lucy Arnaz, rather.
What the heck is this? Yeah.
So,
I don't remember her.
So Lucille Ball's daughter, in other words, was in there. Yeah. And I think Walter Cronkite had a child. She was in there. So Tom Laughlin got several, Hollywood insiders to play in there. And they were doing the screening of it, as he tells the story. They had a senator come out, and the senator watched the movie and was so outraged he got up and shouted. He said, "You're a communist and you'll never release this movie, and we'll bankrupt you and you'll lose everything."
Yeah.
And pretty much it happened like that.
Yeah. As you know, I've run into a similar thing with the what we call the spit lickers, otherwise known as the Southern Poverty Law Center. They put on their website that I'm a neo-Nazi.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm not a Nazi, neo or otherwise, never have been. And now I just noticed they put on their Holocaust denier. That's another good pile of poop they throw at things. And I don't accept it. I don't deny it. I don't give a damn about the Holocaust. I am so sick and tired of hearing about it on television. One of our strongest supporters is a guy named Larry Kagan. He's Jewish. He is sick and tired of hearing about the Holocaust. He says no matter what problem you have in the world, the bottom line, the real reason it's because of the Holocaust or slavery. That's what everybody pins all their gripes on. So, and it's cost us. I mean, I was supposed to get an honorary doctorate because there's nobody I'm not patting myself on the back, but there's nobody in the world that knows this subject better than I do. I've done it 40 odd years, and I knew all the old skippers, Americans too. And just before they were ready to bring me out to Louisiana for conferring this, oh, I got a call. Oh, this guy's a Nazi.
Wow.
That was the end of that. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So,
I'm sorry to hear that.
You know,
the point is they squashed that movie 50 years ago, and then
yeah,
I'm hearing RFK Jr. is being grilled by Congress right now.
Oh boy, we saw it on television yesterday. I told my wife, I said, if I was him, I'd have got up and punched the shit out of some of them people. They call him a liar.
Right.
You don't call somebody a liar unless you can back it up.
You know, he's uncovering all this corruption, and I'm like, man, that's that Billy Jack movie all over again.
Yeah.
This time it's RFK Jr. goes to Washington.
Yeah, we're not supposed to know all the corruption that's going on. They're fighting against Trump so much because their shenanigans are coming to the front, and their unregistered income is looking grim. One of my jobs, as a matter of fact, the one I got angry with and got fired from last years and years and years ago, was with a pharmaceutical giant. And the markup, for God's sake,
wow.
The markup was just insane. And they sold equipment, full gamma cameras, scintillation counters, etc.
Yes.
And when I came in charge of order processing, customer service, I found a whole bunch of orders that had been pending for way over a year. So I'd call the doctor or the clinic, hey, you got an order in for such and such, and it's been 14 months ago. When did you want it? We never ordered it. We talked to your salesman. So the salesmen were getting paid commission booking the order that wasn't even an order. They were making so much money. They were getting all this money without even having to earn it. And I think that's what's going on now, too. Big Pharma is in your wallet, left, right, and otherwise.
Big time. It's a cartel is what it is.
Yeah, I hope we don't mess up any of your viewers here, but I think Donald Trump is the greatest president God ever put on the face of this earth. And Ron DeSantis, our governor here in Florida, the best governor I've ever seen anywhere.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
No question about
it. And I have to laugh at my old hometown, Chicago, the blubbernator, as my friends refer to Pritzker, because he's, over 400 pounds, they said. And he owns Hyatt Regency hotels. I will never stay in a Hyatt again.
Wow.
But when Trump was when he first won the election in 2024, whatever.
Yes, sir.
Pritzker was on television and saying, if Donald Trump thinks he's coming for my people, he has to come through me. That'd be like me challenging Mike Tyson to a cage match.
Right.
Donald Trump is doing everything right. Pritzker is a fat clown, and the mayor of Chicago, they thought Lori Lightfoot was the worst they ever had. Surprise, surprise, this guy's even worse than Lori Lightfoot, who they called the troll doll. And his performance rating, I think I saw on television the other day, was 7%. I get daily input from my friends back in Chicago. How many people got shot? How many are killed?
With rare exception, most of these people in Washington are just crooks, and it's been that way for 100 years. Rare exceptions.
They don't want to see people like Trump and all his cabinet coming in and shining a light on their criminality.
Yeah, look at what happened with USAID and all the money that they were being paid and the magic money machine. So, Harry, I'm looking at the chat room. And we've got a viewer. Alex says he's got a question for you.
Fire away.
Does Harry think Argentine President Javier Milei will be able to declassify all the World War II files? Or do you think only bits will be released?
It's Javier Milei.
Milei, yes.
Yeah. And
what do you think?
He's He's a right winger. Well, I know a lot more than just think, because we have people down there too.
Sure.
The Nobody waved a magic wand and said, "Okay, declassify everything, put it out there." They're going through it and they're sanitizing it, and it is going to the Holocaust Museum in Buenos Aires, to where if you want to see it, you have to go pay an entry fee into, and it's the Simon Wiesenthal Center who's maintaining control, whatever here. Millet, I think, came out of the gate doing a great job, but he doesn't have the kind of cabinet around him that Trump has. So he's kind of hamstrung in what he can do. I think he's a decent guy. And I saw pictures of his girlfriend when he first started. I got to give him 4 pluses for that one. It's a gorgeous girl.
Okay, here's part 2 of the question. Because he says nothing about Hitler living or at Analco seems to have come out yet from over there through the Malay efforts. Do you have any updates on Analco, by the way?
Yes, and we'll get into that in a moment. But talking about Hitler in Argentina is like juggling hand grenades with the pins pulled.
Yes.
It is taboo to the max. Hitler lived there, no question about it. I was the first one to report that Hitler did not commit suicide in a bunker. This is the first real book on it, and others have plagiarized it. This is in Alco in the background.
Oh yeah, look at that.
And yeah, and I took that picture. This is another really big book, 6x9, and we'll talk about it here in a minute. Well, I'll talk about it now. What the heck?
I was in Tijuana, Mexico, by the way, and living 2000, 2001. And I'll never forget, I just happened to have the TV on this little apartment we were staying in.
Right.
And what was big on the news that night was this mysterious house out in Argentina. And I didn't know what it was then, but now I know what it is. It's an Alco.
Bingo.
And they were alluding to the fact that there were some World War II people that had fled to Argentina. And that's probably when it first popped up on my radar.
Oh, no kidding.
You had known about it for a very long time prior to that.
Yeah, since the middle 80s. One of our members, Don Angel Alcazar de Velasco, sent me a letter telling me all about it. This was a typewritten letter, single-spaced, 114 pages long.
Wow.
Which is what went into this book, Hitler in Argentina. It's the bestseller we have, and you can get that same place. Call us 352-637-2917, or it's available online. And I was there. I took this picture, 1980. No, wait. Check that. 2008. And I don't know if you see this clown on television, Josh. I think his last name is Gates. He's on the track of this treasure or that. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
I've heard of him. Yes, sir.
Yeah, he's searching for umpty zillion treasures. He never finds any, but he just came out with his trip there to Inalco, and he says they were the first and the only ones authorized to visit Inalco. Baloney. I've been there more than half a dozen times. Last time we were there, I had a group with me, and we spent the night there. It's been abandoned since 1955 when Hitler moved out, which was because of the so-called bloody coup of 1955 when Juan Perón got kicked out of office. And Juan Perón had been protecting all these high-ranking guys from the Third Reich, and there were thousands of them.
Yes.
Because yes, Bormann. He did not die on the tank. That's another whole story. We have proof Bormann did not die on the tank in Berlin. He died of stomach cancer in 1958.
Right.
Dr. Mengele was trying to help him, but in 1958, if you had cancer, you had no hope, and he died. And okay, so they dug up his body in Berlin. They sure did. And they proved with DNA it was him. Yep, it was. But they dug him up out of a place where they had dug years before and there was nobody there. And now all of a sudden somebody says, hey, let's check over here. Oh, looky, here's Martin Bormann. But they had no explanation for why they had the red clay in the little niches in his bones. And that's Paraguay. Paraguay is one gigantic big red clay. Whatever. Everything is red clay. Dust on the houses, dust on the cars, the ground. Everything is red clay. And that's where he was buried originally. So anyhow.
Absolutely. That's where he was dug up and reburied over in Germany. Oh, we just found him last week.
Yeah. Doggone. And one skeleton there looks like another. What is he holding? A little sign. Hi, I'm Marty. Okay. So let's look here. I'll get my chair out of this plastic thing. Okay. We have so many Hitlers. This guy was what they called a sniper double, which means you could only mistake him for Hitler at a distance. And he worked in the kitchen of Hitler's home with this lady. She was the chief cook. And she knew him as a Hitler double. Sadly, when everything fell apart, she tried to escape, and she was last seen being grabbed by Soviet soldiers, and we know what happened to the beautiful women that got grabbed by Soviet soldiers at that time. So let's look here. Now, here we have, this is the famous picture of dead Hitler. He shot himself in the right temple. History says that. That ain't the right temple. There's the bullet hole. So a guy I know here is a retired homicide detective from the Tampa Police Department, 30-something years. And I said, you know, how could this be a suicide? Because there's no powder burns. How far away do you have to be? And he said, this is an exit wound. This guy got shot in the back of the head. This guy, we found out, his name is Joseph Silip, who was Hitler's cousin.
Wow.
From the same part of Austria, spoke with the same dialect. Now we go down here, we see here's another dead Hitler. And in this picture, he's got a portrait of himself off on a side. But over here, the portrait is on his chest. How many dead Hitlers do we have to find? They even found a couple more in the reflecting pool there at the Reichschancellery. Everybody back in those days, and probably even today, the important people have doubles. Barack Obama, there's times he's very light complected. There's times he's got dark complexion. Times he's got white hair. Times he's got black hair. Look at the ears. You can't fake ears. Now, Hitler committed suicide in 1945. So 2 years later, he'd be a hell of a corpse. But here's what he looked like in 1947. Looks pretty good for a dead guy, doesn't he?
Sure does.
This is in the annex of the Eden Hotel in La Falda, Cordoba province, Argentina. And these people, the Eichhorn family, Ida and her husband Walter and his brother over there, they funded Hitler when he was a young politician on his way up. They funded him a lot, sent him lots of money. And so when he got to South America, and it was not on board U-530, which some clowns that copied my book said that he went on board U-530. Absolutely not. But Argentina was pushed into declaring war against Germany 2 weeks before Germany surrendered. The U.S. pushed them in. I remember as a kid, Walt Disney came out with a couple of feature-length films. One was Three Caballeros, starring Donald Duck, Jose Karaoke, which was a multicolored macaw from South America, and Pancho Pistole, who was a Mexican parrot that carried a gun. And the whole story was how North America and South America should work together so well, because German spy services were rampant all through South America. Uh, and Argentina was probably the strongest in favor of the Third Reich, in favor of Germany, Hitler, etc., because Argentina was populated almost entirely with people who had Western European background. Uh, and the place was full of Germans from 1905 on up. Huge influx of Germans and a lot of Italians as well. So he had no trouble sliding in. And we're incidentally, we have a tour going. I'm bringing a bunch of people down to Argentina in March, last 2 weeks in March. So if anybody wants information, sharkhunters@sharkhunters.com. Just ask for information. We'll send it to you. We visit a lot of places that were very familiar to the Third Reich. We have lunch at the ABC restaurant, which is where so many of those guys, Eichmann, Mengele, Bormann, etc., met for lunch. And when you walk into that restaurant, you'll think you walk back into old Germany. Everything is German decor inside, German paintings on the wall, etc. The food is okay, nothing to write home to mother about, but we also go to the German club. And in those outlying towns, in just about, well, every place I've ever been in South America, and I've been in 5 or 6 countries, I don't speak Spanish worth a damn, don't speak Spanish at all. But I get along fine with my German in those little towns. Yeah. Boy, oh boy, lots of people. Interesting. No, Venezuelan jets are buzzing American ships. That's a good way to get blown out of the sky.
Yeah, that's interesting what's developing over there.
Yeah.
Maduro may be finally on his way out.
Well, his $50 million bounty on his head from Trump.
Yeah, that's awesome. You know, that guy's been in there for way too long. And then Chavez before him. Poor Venezuelans, that used to be a place that you could travel and get a good steak.
Yeah. It was a nice place, but now it's gone commie.
Known for its beef and, you know, and of course oil. And then look at what the communists did over there.
Yeah.
They drove all the people who knew how to run the refineries out. And then those who had no idea what they were doing come in there. No wonder they've got most of their refineries inoperable right now. Nobody knows how to maintain them.
Right, and the people who do know how don't want to go there.
Right.
As for the beef, you mentioned the beef. All of South America, awesome beef because they don't use growth hormones, they don't use antibiotics.
Right.
Most of the places we go in Argentina, the Yankee dollar is powerful, really strong. But we go to this one restaurant. I forget the Spanish name, but it means lilac house. You sit down and they'll roll this tray in front of you, the glass covered with all sorts of different cuts. You pick which one you want, and they take it off and cook it, and you never have less than 2 waiters at your table at all time. You take a drink of water, ploosh, put in more water. You take a bite of your salad, ploosh, here comes more salad.
Oh, yeah.
But that one you don't get away cheap. That one it's close to $100 a head, U.S.
Probably all the meat you can eat. It's like Brazilian beef.
Oh, yeah, and it's great. It's great food.
Alex in the chat room says, Harry, where do you think Hitler ended up? Was it Bolivia?
He's done his homework. That's where he died. 13th of February, 1962. On the 15th of January, 62, he came to this plantation, and we got this from a fellow who uses the name Michael Lehman because he doesn't want people to know who he is. He was a 20-year-old kid at that time, at that plantation, the sugar plantation.
Wow.
And he said Hitler came, and everybody, all the employees, had to go out along the driveway and stand there with the so-called Hitler Gruß with the right hand in the air, which is really the old Roman salute, because when two men would meet, they would show, I have no weapon.
Okay.
But Hitler went into the main building because he needed to talk to the manager, a guy named, I got it right here. There we go. Oh, hell, can't even read my own writing.
Sounds like me.
Yeah.
Mine's chicken scratch.
Yeah.
So,
but anyhow, the guy he went to see was his commanding officer in World War One.
okay.
So he got what he needed. He gave what he needed. He signed whatever he did there, went back to the car and left. And the month later, 13th of February, he died, natural causes. Now, to Alex, he ain't buried there. And there's some character from Argentina who had been a good researcher. I won't mention his name. He had been a good researcher, but suddenly he got a little bit of fame. And every little town, Hitler was there, like George Washington slept here.
Okay.
And according to some of my contacts down there, he could find lost U-boats in a bowl of soup.
Wow.
So
Now, Harry,
he said he was buried beneath the floor of a hotel in Asuncion, Paraguay. Then that's not true.
so just to repeat, he's in Bolivia. Do you believe he was buried or cremated?
Buried.
Okay,
Entombed.
so entombed.
Entombed.
Okay. Hey, that's important information right there.
And his casket, or whatever you call it, is surrounded by 12 black marble pillars, because 12 was a very important number to the Third Reich. 12
Wow.
Knights of the Round Table, 12 Apostles of Jesus, plus, and they were not godless Nazis. And the number 12, for umpty zillion reasons, was important to the Third Reich. So 12 black marble pillars, and on top of each black marble pillar was a large solid gold eagle, total 40 tons of gold.
Okay. Now, that was Adolf Hitler. I understand Martin Bormann, of course, died in Paraguay. They dug him up and replanted him over in Germany with
That's
the
right.
red clay.
He died in
Hohenau?
and no, he was close. We went to Hohenau, but no, I forget where the hell he died. What was it? Yeah, he died in
It was like a farm.
either northern Argentina, up in the tri-border area there,
Okay.
and Argentina, Brazil, Paraguay. Was buried in Paraguay and brought back. As for the rest of them,
What about Gestapo Mueller? Now, I understand, talking to Lawrence, that he lived to be a very old age.
he died in the year 2000, I believe.
And I think he was
Down
well
there.
over 100 years old when he died.
Okay.
The
I'm
question,
hoping to be over 100, so it's possible.
yes, absolutely. And what we had heard from her on the program was that the people that were with him were going to call the ambulance service to come pick him up, and he began to panic. Don't call them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
There
so-
goes anonymity.
My question is, do we have any idea, is he buried in Buenos Aires in all likelihood at this point?
Not sure.
Somewhere?
Not sure. He was living outside Buenos Aires, not far from where Lawrence lives.
Right.
We took a bus one time from her place, which is 2 hours west of Buenos Aires.
Okay.
We took a bus to this little wide spot in the road. It had one or two stores, I think. She went into the store to see if we could get a taxi. Oh, yeah, sure, no problem. Si, senora. And it was the owner's brother who came in his own car. Took us to a house that had been Mueller's friends. And, of course, I don't speak Spanish. She was talking to them. They were talking in Spanish. She introduced me as Mueller's nephew. Okay. So something came up and I said something, 6, 7, 8 words in a sentence. Oh, he sounds like Herr Mueller. Okay, fine. So
Wow.
Lawrence asked where was the house where Mueller had lived and died in. We were expecting to jump into the so-called taxi and go, and no, it's right next door. Well, this was already like 10, 11 o'clock at night. It was dark.
Amazing.
We went next door, signs all over, no pasar. Man, she was over the fence faster than me.
Shoot, I would too.
All around the house, taking pictures. I've got a bunch of photos of it. But the house was locked. It had apparently been empty since Mueller died.
Okay.
And Lawrence was going to try to find the next of kin or whoever had the keys to the house. And we were going to go inside, take pictures. We never take anything except photos and video.
Right.
We're not grave robbers.
No.
Unless I find King Tut's mask, I might be tempted.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
That would be amazing to see if there was any relative still alive that had photographs of him.
Yeah, that's what we look for is photographs.
Now, speaking of that, the Eichhorn family that you showed a picture of early 1947, Hitler's there.
Right.
Was it La Falda? What was the name of their hotel? The Hotel Eden or something?
The Hotel Eden, which was in the town of La Falda.
Okay.
They even had a letter there that Hitler had sent to them thanking them for the money, and I was translating it out of German into English for them.
So here's my thoughts. Some years ago, you mentioned that, if I recall correctly, are any of their grandchildren still alive that could be interviewed potentially that might have some stories passed down from them?
Yep. And they have refused to talk to reporters or historians or anything. But when I get down there next, which will be March, I'm going to stay a week after the tour goes home.
Yes.
And Martin down there, the guy that's my eyes and ears down there, he said, we'll just show up and knock on their door and say who you are and ask would they. We did this to the daughter of the guy that owned the estancia where the big Ju-390 aircraft landed that had Hitler aboard in Uruguay.
Right.
We just went and knocked on the door. I don't do Mike Wallace interviews, ambush. Told them who I was, what we were doing, and they were so nice. They invited us in. Coffee. They served us coffee and cakes, and they were just so nice. And so I asked questions, and then I said, "What about the airplane?" I'm shifting gears here.
Yes.
I have a different story, but I said, "What about the airplane that landed on your father's estancia at 2:00 in the morning?" And I get this little tee out of her and her husband. And she said, well, that happened 3 years before I was born, so I don't know anything about it. But it didn't happen. Okay. I said, but we've talked to people there. They heard the plane land. Oh, okay. She said, well, yeah, it was a crop duster. And the prefect of police, who's the highest cop in the whole area, he came out. And she said it was just a crop duster. And I'm thinking, crop dusters don't fly at 2:00 in the morning,
right?
Because they don't have nighttime navigation. And a 40 horsepower little engine does not sound like the thunder of six 2,000 horsepower engines. So,
Harry, we're talking 80 years ago.
Yep.
What's the big deal when it comes down to it? If they have relatives that were there and had been involved, what's the big deal?
I think people
why not just come clean?
They're ashamed, or they think there might be repercussions like
how?
Eichmann's, well, I don't know how, but Eichmann's two sons changed their name, and we tried to track them down. We couldn't find them. And Eichmann, the so-called history says he was the architect of the final solution. Baloney! He was a lieutenant colonel. Lieutenant colonels don't have that kind of clout. He was in charge of moving people around on the rail. Whether it's good, bad, or otherwise, that's what he did. uh, which is why he was able to be grabbed. He didn't have the protection anymore. He didn't have any money. He worked on the assembly line at Mercedes of Argentina.
Oh, that's right.
And
Yes.
he had to drive. He had to ride 3 hours there and 3 hours back on the train or the bus. And he was a middle-aged guy, and he was really tired when he got off the bus, and that's how they were able to grab him. They tried grabbing Mangala in Paraguay at
Right.
the resort where he was staying.
Different story with
And
him. He was heavy
yeah,
bodyguards, right?
well, as they were coming in the front gate, the owner of the hotel was shoving Mangala out the window in his underwear
Wow.
into the jungle, and these 6 Mossad agents wound up with their throats slashed, dumped in
Whoa.
the jungle. Didn't work out so well for him there. And
He
I
had
was in the room that Mangala had used.
That's amazing. And that was where, Argentina or Paraguay?
Paraguay.
Oh, Paraguay. Yeah.
Not far from Hohenau.
Do you remember the?
Hohenau, a little Argentine or South American country with a German name. We had lunch at the Edelweiss restaurant and had a
Yeah.
beer at the New Berlin Brewery.
Do you remember the movie from the '70s with Gregory Peck called "The Boys from Brazil"?
Oh, God, yes.
That's a great movie.
Oh, it was a super movie, and it had hard basis, in fact.
Yeah, that was where I was going with it. It it has that scene where Mingale has this jungle laboratory,
Yeah.
and he was working on twins. There's
Yeah.
rumors that there's cities over there somewhere where they have a lot of twins with blue eyes.
Yeah, that there's a place up in the uh, northeast of Argentina or southeast of Brazil. We've got it in the file.
Yeah,
We were going to go. 85% of the people there were twins with blue eyes.
and they happen to have been probably treated there in a fertility clinic by Mingale, as the story
Most
goes.
likely. Incidentally, if I could stray a second,
Yeah.
that laboratory in the movie that was all deserted and ruins, that was not a movie prop. That's
Oh.
down in Brazil. It's called Fordlandia. And way
Oh.
back before the war started, Henry Ford, who was the wealthiest man in the world at the time, had an entire town, village, whatever you want to call it, built in New England, taken apart, put on ships down there and up the Orinoco River to zillions of acres he owned, and rebuilt right there in the forest and filled with local people so they can so they could harvest the rubber trees that were there.
To make tires, right?
Yeah, but then along came the war, and along came synthetic rubber,
Yeah.
and he just walked away. The place is still there.
That's amazing. I saw.
I was trying to get up enough money to go down there and film it, but
Yeah.
it takes a little more than 5 or 6 grand, which is what I usually need to go on an expedition. But way up the river like that, a lot more money. So
Harry,
if
I
anybody
saw.
wants to fund a mission, let me know.
Oh yeah. Are there any bunkers that yet remain that need to be explored that you haven't seen yet, but maybe Jeff Carson knows about?
If the Germans built it, Jeff Carson knows it. I don't know. It's like asking, can you tell me something you forgot? Because
You've seen a lot of them.
we've seen a lot of them, and I
Yeah.
found a couple of them too. We were walking along this trail on the Obersalzberg, and it drooped off to the right as a marsh, but on the left it went straight up. And one of the guys with me was a former recon captain in the Army.
Yes.
And, pardon me, he says, Harry, there's a hole up there that doesn't look right. And there was a hole about like a big watermelon, about 7 feet up. I couldn't get up to look. So I took my camera and stuck my camera in and took a picture. There was a hallway.
Oh my goodness.
So I put on my little miner's lamp and I squiggled through the hole. And I walked down that hallway a mile into
Whoa.
the mountain.
Whoa.
And on both sides there were offices, nothing but empty shells. No wood, no door jambs, no doors, no tables, no nothing, just empty cells. But I got about a mile in, and then there was an intersection where I could continue forward or go left, go right.
Yeah.
And I got the thing, well, let's see here. I'm a mile in the mountain. Nobody came with me. They've changed the channel on our walkie-talkies.
Wow.
And I don't have spare batteries. What do I do if my light goes out? So I decided to turn around and go back. But we've been in all sorts of bunkers and tunnels over there. Jeff Carson, as you say, he's the tunnel king. That guy knows. If the Germans built it down there in Bavaria,
yeah,
and northern Austria, Jeff knows it, and Jeff's been there, and he has sent us so much. Jeff is. I used to tell people, hey, if Jeff says, come and walk with me, it's only a short distance, take a cab. A short distance to him is 10, 20 miles up and down a mountainside.
Now, that place you're talking about, have you ever wanted to go back over there and export with the right gear?
Yeah, unfortunately, somebody filled it in.
Oh, no.
So many of those bunkers and tunnels, I mean, they had huge factories. Some like Bergkristall was 2 or 3 stories high. They filled it in, and there, I think it's Bergkristall, they had problems. Up on the surface, a little village was there. And now all of a sudden the ground is starting to sag because the bunkers are starting to collapse.
Harry, do you think
people in these little towns aren't happy?
You think the place that you entered into is part of the overall 5 or 6 level bunker complex that went under Berchtesgaden that connected Hitler's tunnels and the rest together?
Yeah, that I don't think that was connected with any. I think it was an air raid office complex.
Okay.
The bunkers that came out of the basement of the Hotel Zum Türken was owned by a dear friend of mine, Ingrid Scharfenberg.
Yes.
Who died under very questionable circumstances, and I've got all the evidence here. But I was told, don't publish it if you ever expect to come back to Germany again. But
wow,
she had the best and best maintained tunnel and bunker complex anywhere in Germany.
Yes.
You had to pay like €2.30, which is about $4, I guess. And you go down this winding staircase, and man, oh man, they had 2, 3, 4 levels.
Yes.
Plus a secret part that no one was allowed into because it was her little museum. But because she was my best friend, she let me in there with my camera to take pictures of what was in there. But the state of Bavaria or the city or whatever, I don't know, World War what? Adolf who? So they came through from the other side of the bunker to where the property line was of her property, and they bricked it up.
Right. Now let me ask you this question. You've gotten into those tunnels. Do you think there were still some levels down that you didn't get to? That may be down there?
Oh, yeah. Some of them were filled with water by then, groundwater.
Okay. And
but
what do you think?
You can't go there now because the place was sold shortly after Ingrid's demise, and whoever bought it won't let you know who they are. They won't open the doors. The hotel is closed permanently. The bunkers are closed permanently. Yeah. And I remember I spent so many months, weeks at a time, over probably 20 years in Zimmer Nummer 7.
Yes.
Room number 7, which was just like a little cell. This was the officers of Hitler's personal bodyguards stay there.
Okay.
And they didn't have bathrooms in each room. You had a bed, a table, and a balcony. And there were, no, if that's Obama, I'm not here.
So they were tiny. But
yeah, and they had the public bathroom down there. And I could look out the window, and there's these rolling valleys, which is where Hitler used to walk. You could see Hitler's home from my balcony.
So here's part 2 of that question. When the air raids happened and they bombed the Obersalzberg, that was his house, right?
The Berghof, it was called.
The Berghof, rather. As far as the tunnels leading to the bunker, was his bunker collapsed, or do you think you could have gotten over there from Ingrid's hotel took and made it all the way over there. Was, in other words, what was intact that
his
survived
bunker
the bombing?
was not collapsed. His bunker was not collapsed because I've been in it.
Oh, okay.
Eingang verboten, means Harry should come in here.
Yes.
Some people think it means entry forbidden, but
How
I was
big
in
of a
Hitler's bunker.
How big of a bunker was it? Was it just like one room, or would have been something
No.
similar
It had
to
several rooms there.
Okay.
Hitler had his own room. Eva had her room. They had a room for phonograph records.
Oh, wow.
And a film room, and it was pretty large. All those bunkers were large. They were interconnected to
Okay.
a point.
Okay.
Bormann and Goering hated each other so much they would not allow their bunkers to intersect. So, and we've been by the entrance to Bormann's bunker. We got photos of it, and Goering's bunker, and the bunker that led behind the coal bunkers.
Yes.
They had huge, big. It was coke actually, but not coal, but off limits, big barbed wire fence around the entrance, and Eingang verboten, which means Harry's welcome here. So we've been in those coal bunkers many times.
So, Harry, in terms of getting out of the Hitler's bunker, back up to his mansion there, what could you make it up as far as like steps, and that's where it ends?
I never got as far as the steps, but there must have been steps because the door was about 40 feet down and about 80 yards out from the house.
Okay.
That it led him out into the jungle, into the woods, whatever you call it.
Right.
For air raids. That's what
Amazing.
those bunkers were air raids.
That's amazing. We're almost out of time. I want you to tell us about the second book you got.
But yeah, the second book I talked about was Hitler in Argentina. That's this guy. We've got 70 books.
70 books.
70 books. Go to sharkhunters.com, and then you'll see a carousel of books. But right above that it says see all books or something like that. Click on that and it'll open them up.
Okay.
We've got 18 volumes in the series called U-Boat, where each chapter in each book is a separate standalone memory of a different veteran.
Yes.
Kretschmer, Top, Hardig, and officers, etc. Pure history. Then Hidden Secrets of World War II. We've got 12 volumes of that, and this is stuff. Why the war started had nothing to do with Hitler wanting to kill all the Jews and rule the world.
How many more volumes do you think you have of that after the 12?
A lot.
So you're going to continue to release them until you've released it all?
Absolutely.
Fantastic.
Absolutely.
Keep it going, man. You're doing a great job.
Thank you. Sharkhunters at sharkhunters.com.
Okay. And they can order the books directly from you, sharkhunters.com?
Yes, that's correct.
Harry, what's an office number they can reach you at during normal office hours?
Area 352-637-2917.
Harry, thank you for coming on tonight. If I didn't have two shows right after you, we would keep going to the third hour, but let's get you back.
Last time we did a 2-hour show, it was 4 hours long.
That's right. We'll get you back on in October. God bless you, my friend.
Thanks, you too. Have a great day.
Have a great weekend.
Thank you. You too.
Folks, go to sharkhunters.com. Thank you, Harry. Okay, friends, I'm going to try to reboot. Stand by.